Hey, it's your old pal Lucid Stew again with another Dreams Streams breakdown. This time we're looking at the music in #Dreams PS4 stream from May 18th. I left out information we already knew from PSX last year, so if this is your first exposure to Dreams audio, I encourage you to start at the link above and come back when you're done there. From PSX we know you can record sounds with Dreams, so let's start by assuming we've recorded a sound. What next? Your recorded sound shows up in Dreams as a waveform. A waveform is the visual representation of the information contained in sound. It gives you a good idea of where a sound begins, ends, and how loud it gets. Here MM is taking a single recording and slicing it up to make 4 different instruments. The editing is simple. You have a beginning and ending slider, and you can also adjust volume. All sounds, instruments, and effects contain a ton of variables that can be changed in edit mode as well as during play mode by Logic. Media Molecule showed some of these variables, but it appears there are dozens. The scale of it is a bit daunting, but I think most of these tweaks are aimed at true audio geeks, and the average user probably won't spend too much time with more than a few, which we'll take a look at now. First is pitch. There are 5 pitch variables. They didn't show what all of them do, but simply put, they adjust the pitch of a sound in some way so they make the tone lower or higher. Distortion takes your clean signal and intentionally garbles it. First thing that comes to mind is rock guitar, but distortion has applications for most sounds because few things we hear get to our ears in a squeaky clean state. Chorus and delay effects allow the user to create a bigger sound by repeating the original sound a certain amount of times and in varying states of pitch. The result is that one instrument played can sound like many. EQ allows you to adjust the gain on the different frequencies that make up the sound. This can be useful for adding weight to a sound by boosting bass frequencies or making dialogue clearer by boosting the vocal range, as well as many other applications. Granular effects chop the sound up into pieces and then play them back in various ways. This can result in a rhythmically interrupted effect or can be randomized to all sorts of weird results. And the last set of variables we'll cover directly are 3D panning. This controls how a sound is heard in a 3D space. Basically, this allows you to create a fade for a sound inside your world based on the listener's distance to it. This is useful for all sorts of sound effects, as well as for adding ambiance to certain areas of your world. Once you have your sounds built out by editing them and tweaking their variables, you can load them into an instrument by mapping individual sounds to different buttons. This allows you to play and record those sounds together with an instrument canvas. You can also make effect fields for the instrument canvas. These utilize the same variables as instruments to temporarily adjust their output. So let's say you don't want a part of your instrument to have reverb all the time. You can create a reverb effect, and that will allow you to add reverb to that part of your instrument while you play. Same goes for every other variable in a sound. In addition to making your own sounds, instruments, and effects, you'll be able to easily search the Dreamiverse for ones made by other people. A nice feature that Media Molecule built in is a mouse over preview. Rather than having to access the sounds or instruments to get an idea of what they sound like, you can just hover over. This will make it much easier to find what you're looking for, especially considering the sheer volume that is certain to be available. No pun intended. Once you have your sounds, instruments, and effects figured out, you can use an instrument canvas to create pieces of music using your controller. To facilitate that, MM has built in some cool features. The first 2 are a count-in, click track, and metronome to help you come in on the correct beat and to keep time throughout. You don't have to worry about getting everything in one pass because you can layer recorded performances. Controller buttons are mapped to scale and key, and you can adjust both to get the proper mood for your piece. Another nice feature is the chord setting, where you can add accompanying notes while still pressing only one button. The way this is set up, you can create just about any chord that exists, and there are hundreds. We actually saw this briefly at PSX last year and didn't know it. The chord being played here is a minor triad in the key of D. Nah. Another cool idea is the arpeggiator. An arpeggio is a series of notes that usually go up and then back down a scale or vice versa. This implementation allows for some other interesting uses. For instance, you can play a note multiple times consecutively far faster than humanly possible with a single button press. That allows things that might otherwise be tremendously difficult with a controller, like a ride cymbal, drum roll, or really fast guitar. Once you have a performance or 2 you're happy with, you can assemble them into pieces of music with a music timeline. It's very easy to turn your short recordings into loops, which can be extended to fill large amounts of time. You can also take effects and add them directly to a timeline. Let's say a certain part of your musical piece needs a little bass boost. Drop an EQ effect in there. You can even edit that effect after you've added it to get it just right. On the other end of the spectrum for the minute tweaks of all the sound variables are the timeline variables, which, like drop-in effects, apply globally to a timeline. Here the tempo for the entire timeline is being changed on the fly, and notice that can be done in real time during play mode as well. This is the piano roll view of a timeline. At PSX I was floored when they revealed the audio sequencer capabilities of Dreams. This right here turns Dreams into a digital audio workstation. It's difficult to overstate how outrageous it is that these capabilities will be available in a console title. Computer software that works similarly is more expensive by itself than Dreams as a whole. This is revolutionary. Now that I've had a second to pick my jaw up from the floor, what does this thing do? It's a fully editable visual representation of a piece of music. What this means is that you can create music even if you have no idea how to play an instrument. You put a note where you want it. You make the note as long as you want it. Stack notes, create chords, you can do it all right here. It really is incredible. You combine this with Dream's built-in ability to distribute music, and this is a tremendous tool for amateurs or maybe even professionals looking to get their work noticed. Not to mention what a boon it will be for people looking to add original music to their games. It doesn't stop there though, because you can hook Logic directly up to a timeline with some interesting results. This is a slider hooked up to the playhead of a timeline. This allows you to use Logic to play a specific part of your timeline on command. There are so many uses for this, and it extends beyond music to the other types of timelines as well. Similarly, we see the output of a character being hooked up directly to the playback speed of a timeline. Consider that the same thing should be possible with both animation and action recorder timelines. This makes advanced ideas like interpolation much easier. You see that here they use a keyframe gadget as an intermediary between an object and a timeline. The timeline changes the keyframe, which in turn changes the glow of the apple. The result is that the glow interpolates based on the beat of the timeline. The implication? True rhythm games will be 100% possible. If you consider the audio capabilities, the logic capabilities, and the ability to play music with a controller, it would be possible to recreate Guitar Hero with this. No joke. I'll go a step further. Rock Band. Seriously. And not only that, consider the possibilities once online multiplayer is in.
So there you go.
This is Bogdan's Beet Box, and it gives a small taste of what is possible. This is a real-time instrument built in Dreams. They showed that capability with more traditional types of instruments rather dramatically at E3 this year. Speaking of E3, I will get to the making of the Molecule stream soon, but since I was away on vacation during E3, I kind of missed my opportunity to comment on Dreams showing there. I'm going to do so in a video coming soon, so see you next time.
Thank you.